Hello, and welcome to our panel on creating an inclusive environment. As you may know, Rotary has made diversity, equity, and inclusion a focus this past year, and many districts and clubs have appointed committees working in this area. Rotarians around the world are taking great strides to make sure that we can all do good in the world, no matter our background or our ability. And I am proud of what we have accomplished thus far. However, there's still much to be done. This shouldn't be viewed as a challenge per se, but a wonderful opportunity. Inclusion can expand our reach by growing membership, increasing our appeal, and creating new channels into Rotary. It can enhance participant engagement by making members feel truly welcomed and valued, bettering our retention. But most importantly, it can introduce new ideas and new voices to the Rotary world so that we can better reflect the communities we serve. With us today are three Rotarians who have graciously offered their insights on diversity, equity, and inclusion, and what this means to them. I am delighted to welcome from the Rotary Club of Pendali, Greece, Rotary International Director Aikaterini Kotsali Papdimitriou. From the Rotary Club of Pune, India, Rotary International Director-elect Mahesh Kotbagi. And from the Rotary Club of Port Harcourt, District 9141, Nigeria, Ijeoma Pearl Okoro. We'll get things started with a basic but crucial question. What does diversity mean to you? Mahesh, do you care to get us started?
Diversity to me varies in ethnicity and its cultural celebrations. It's a lingual diversity, it's a regional, it's a food festivals, it's all individuals. And they're coming together as a team, which also includes a sexual orientation. I feel that Rotary is all about teamwork, networking.
I agree, Mahesh. Rotary is absolutely all about teamwork and networking. Part of being an effective team means understanding everyone's different backgrounds in order to make the most of their different skills. But what does that really mean? Understanding different backgrounds and how we can put it into practice. Katerina, could you talk further about this?
When referring to diversity, it is important to remember that the terminology has broadened. We realize that there are visible differences such as race and color, but also invisible such as learning styles and mental abilities. When I started exploring the definitions of diversity, equity, and inclusion, I realized there is a need to understand those notions beyond any personal perception or interest. We must open opportunities to everyone to maximize everyone's capabilities for the profit of the community. Difference adds value.
You make a great point, Katerina. Difference adds value, as you said, and those differences are not always visible. That concept is often left out in discussions of inclusion, so I appreciate you mentioning it. Inclusion is a nuanced topic. There is much to consider, and it's a learning process. We constantly need to be readjusting and reevaluating to make sure everyone's being represented. Pearl, could you expand on what Katerina discussed? What does diversity mean to you? And as we adjust and evaluate as an organization, what facets of diversity should be better represented in Rotary?
For me, it's important to have a full reflection of the people and professions in our community to best support our service work. Given the challenges in our environment, membership should represent our communities, vary in religion, and age balance to include young and old adults. For instance, our projects address the needs of the physically challenged, but we have had no deliberate plans of inviting them to join Rotary. We need to do better.
Thank you, Pearl. You raised a really important issue that I think would be beneficial for our DGEs, especially as they consider what member involvement looks like. For those with physical disabilities, consider if there is any barriers to their participation and how you can remove them. This could be using a sound system to help those with hearing impairments, or ensuring there are ramps for those who may not be able to easily navigate stairs. This can also be applied to other identities, such as religious affiliation, an invisible difference, as Katerina said. Does your club have any practices or traditions that might alienate those who practice a different religion or none at all? As you identify groups that are not represented in your membership, ensure any barriers to their participation have been addressed before starting your recruitment effort. That way, people will feel welcome right from the start. Katerina, you remember when you first joined Rotary and how that shaped your understanding of inclusion? Could you share your story with us?
Thank you for the question, Valarie. I joined Rotaract at age 19. Reaching the age of 30, I could not continue my Rotary career since at that time women were not accepted in Rotary. In the early 80s, Rotary was not an inclusive organization, and many competent female Rotaractors had no other choice than to quit Rotary due to gender and age limitations. I stayed by the side of my husband, who was a Rotarian, actively involved in his club's activities. Just being a Rotary Anne did not satisfy me. So when in 1989 women were accepted in Rotary worldwide, working hard, I contributed to establishing in 1993 the first mixed gender club in Greece, my club, Rotary Club of Pendeli. My personal story highlights why cultivating a culture of inclusivity is not only important to me, but for our organization in general.
And Pearl, as another woman in Rotary, what was your experience?
When I joined Rotary as a 30-year-old young executive, the average age of the club was 45 years, with a 5% women membership. It was indeed difficult to get through the perceptions and convince my contemporaries to join. It took more than a decade for things to start loosening up and for the club to become a more comfortable place for younger and female members.
These are tremendous stories. When I hear them, I am struck by how far we've come as an organization. And I'm also very impressed by your persistence. You both stepped into a challenging environment and not only made room for yourselves, but you made room for future Rotarians. This must not have been easy, and I would like to thank you for doing so. As a woman in Rotary myself, I wouldn't be here if it weren't for women like you. But how do we keep this momentum going for people of all backgrounds, not just women? What strategies can we use to continue to change Rotary's culture and make us even more inclusive?
Over here, our strategies include involving the family of Rotary, migrating young people from Rotaract to Rotary, inviting more women to join, introducing hands-on projects, mentorship programs, and telling our stories using virtual platforms.
Notice that Pearl just gave us a list of strategies. Some of these will work in your district, while others may work better in others. The key is that she gave us multiple suggestions, and this is a great example to set for your districts and clubs. For example, take service projects. Offering numerous service opportunities not only caters to Rotarians' different interests, but it can be used to showcase their different abilities. Members will feel valuable. they'll appreciate being able to contribute, and they'll be more connected to their club. Try to find service options that are unique, varied, and customizable to make the most of members' skills and give them an opportunity to grow and thrive. Mahesh, do you have any specific examples of how catering to members' diverse skills can benefit everyone?
I'll give my own example. When I joined Rotary, I was not even in 30s. So at the age of 29 when I joined Rotary, most of the surroundings of Rotarians, they either had the gray hair or no hair at all. And people and my friends, they asked me, where are you getting misfit? And in our part, the Rotarians never ever even given a leadership, whether it's a president of the club or a governor of a district or further trainingships, to unless you age. They were not having the open mind to understand how the young ignited minds works. And I'll tell you, I got the opportunity to become the president at the less than age of 30. At the less than age of 40, I became the governor. And we had the paradigm shift. We saw so many youngsters coming ahead. We gave opportunity to the youngsters. We understood how beautifully they handled the social media handle, how their thinking was exactly out of box, how the creativity was happening. And we started, including the youngsters. And today I'm very happy that we have got more than 30% of youngsters in our part of the region.
It's wonderful that your area was able to engage young members by opening leadership positions to them, Mahesh. That is a great example of being inclusive and giving an underrepresented group decision-making power. We should all consider how our districts can do this for other identities, such as ethnic background and religious affiliation. Katerina, where would you like to see more engagement within Rotary? And what strategies have you implemented to make this happen?
We should encourage more competent and qualified women to join Rotary and see themselves in leadership roles. In our region, we have already conducted with success 3 Women in Rotary conferences since 2015. Excellent presentations covering a wide range of topics, including the history of women in Rotary, leadership, inclusion, psychological issues, or even personal stories highlighted the importance of the female presence in Rotary.
I noticed in your last answer, you talked about leadership and leadership roles multiple times. Leadership is crucial to making all of this happen, right? In order for an organization to be truly inclusive, it must be reflected at all levels, especially at the level where decisions are being made. Our audience of district governors-elect are about to be in positions of leadership themselves. So what can they do? What advice would you give to them when it comes to making clubs more inclusive?
District governors should treat all members of their district with fairness and equity, not making any discriminations. They should increase awareness about cultural differences and lead brave discussions in this respect, since it is easier to embrace something when you understand it. Socialize the diversity, equity and inclusion statement with members in their district. Identify members in the district who have experience and expertise in these issues to serve on a committee. Ensure a diverse selection of speakers at all Rotary events, taking in consideration age, ethnicity, abilities, gender. Create a process to collect ideas and opinions of those who are not in leadership roles. Building bridges of communications among generations, Rotaractors and young Rotarians should be invited to participate in district committees and the organization of major events, as well as to the accomplishment of significant projects. We must change the rules of the game. More women should see themselves in leadership, selecting or electing. District governors should open opportunities for a more diverse, inclusive and equitable Rotary to increase the impact of clubs, and strengthen membership retention and growth.
I really like what you said about increasing awareness and education. There are times where the subject of diversity feels daunting or too hard to implement. In those moments, offering education and actionable steps forward can be a great way to encourage people to engage with topics of diversity. Pearl, would you agree?
Indeed, I advise our district governors-elect to educate club leaders on diversity and inclusiveness and add topics that address such during their president-elect's training seminars and district team training seminars. They should intentionally recognize clubs that are vibrant and inclusive.
Thank you for all your insights on diversity, equity, and inclusion in Rotary. I think this has been a productive and informative panel. From my experience, inclusion can only be achieved when experiences with fellow members at your club and district events are free of harassment and respectful of boundaries. This means that I cannot expect you to be comfortable with what I'm comfortable with. Instead, I need to find out what you're comfortable with and respect that. As leaders in your district, you'll need to put this into practice and be ready to address concerns that may be raised by members who feel disrespected and harassed. In these moments, follow the process set up in your district. Deal with all concerns fairly and in a timely manner, and strive for learning and growth. And don't forget, the Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion Task Force is actively working to develop strategies and resources to help you make Rotary more representative and the club of choice for community members. As you lead your district next year, we are here to support you. This may sound challenging at first, but I promise you, making Rotary more diverse is absolutely worth it. Your members will feel safe and they'll be proud to be part of an organization that respects their contributions. And we, as Rotary, will be more dynamic and better prepared to effectively serve communities. After all, when we talk about people of action, we're not talking about a select group of people. We're talking about people in communities all over the world, even communities that might be different from our own. That's what it means to be a part of the family of Rotary. Thank you.